Wednesday evening, that is mainstream racing series time. Welcome to round 12 of 22. That means we are exceeding the halfway mark of the second season of the mainstream racing series. I'm Seb Bauer, glad you're with us. Welcome, bienvenido. In Spain, in Barcelona, exactly Montmedo, on the outskirts of the metropole in Catalonia. We have been here on the weekend in the real life for the fourth race of the ongoing season. Further, I have already broadcasted from here just 2 days ago on Monday today, so Barcelona again. I am absolutely grooved into the Spanish track, as we are already speaking about it. There it is, very familiar to every team, every driver. A lot of races going on here. The winter tests, usually, if there is no COVID, usually the winter tests midway or towards the end of February is always situated here in Barcelona. Track difficulty is set to medium. There are a few tricky places, tricky turns off this track. 16 turns, 4.6 kilometers of length. And how do we race? We will have a 18 minutes qualifying followed by a 50% race distance. That is 33 laps. I am very sure about that already. We have equal car performances, safety car, VSC, rules, flags, all that is set to on, of course. We have full damage and dynamic weather. It can sometimes be rainy in Barcelona. We see regular corner cutting. We do not want our races to be decided by penalties too much. And these are the assists we use. So medium traction control, manual gearbox, manual pit stops, the stops as well as turning in and out of the pit lane. That all has to be manual. Let's have a short look at the lobby. We are still 2 or 3 minutes before we head to the track on schedule. So host is once again Mr. David Lawson. We see, I think it will be the first race in, I have no clue how many months, the first race without any of our Swiss connection. So there is no Kuau, no Tan, no Caruso tonight. First time ever, I think, that there is no Swissonian, how I like to call them. But Nevis Ekic is here. Ekic and me, the only one who are the German speakers of tonight. Oh, have a look. Stigio is in. He is reserving in the second Williams. Or rather, actually the first Williams. The Williams of Kantan, that's his name. And Stigio, I know him already very well. I know him from the Mondays League I used to work with. He is a mate of David Lawson and Leonard Cam, there he is, Stuart McDonald. So I suppose that we do not have a full grid tonight, and so Leonard Cam and Lawson just said, hey, come on, Steve, jump into the Williams and be aboard with us. Yeah, we see Scuba, Stephen Horchitz, one of our reserves who sadly had to step down from standard driver to reserve due to real-life commitments. But tonight he's in. Nice to see you again in the second, or rather, again, first Mercedes. First, because he is reserving for Mico Caruso, who's in vacation, likewise to his real-life buddy Kantan and Ricky Kuau. So all these Swiss guys are out on holidays. And yeah, we are on point, speaking about the clock. So we are on our way to Barcelona to kick off the second part of the season. So this is turn 10, an important turn, especially in the real life, especially when we will then see the new game. The turn has been reshapen. So the real track now looks very much like the run-out zone. There you can see it again. So the run-out zone is more or less how the turn will look like then in the new game. New game incoming in almost exactly 2 months. Heavily looking forward, of course. Like I would like to suppose every one of our MLS drivers. And here we are in the pit lane. Rather fair weather. Everything looks warm, sunny. So at least for the qualifying, there should be no weather issues to watch. The first one has left his garage. Let's see who will be the first one that is ruled on an outlap. It's a red car, looks like a Ferrari. Simixna, Chag Rognan, there he is. Yeah, so he brings me already to one of the topics that we have to talk about. Simixna, Chag Rognan, his real name. He's having a good part, or a good last few weeks of this season. He's on the uprise of his results in the last races. He told me some weeks ago in our drivers' interviews that his plan is to close the gap to Peter Simpson. And one very interesting thing is the fact who is the number one Ferrari driver. I asked both the Ferrari drivers in our drivers interview that question. They both were very diplomatic, but usually Ferrari is not a team who has equal drivers. There's actually always a number one or number two driver. But those two, Rognan and Jarne van der Bredel, they work pretty good as a team. And they at least say every time that they work together rather than seeing himself as the number one. While we are already at the end of Sector 1, little tradition of mine to stay on board with the first driver who goes out. Sector 1, not very long, you cannot win a lot, you can just lose a lap or lap time in this sector. Sector 2 is very important. Here's the first, this right here, the first spot where the car is really light, where you can lose it on the rear. This blind right-hander, turn 9, very tricky. You have to have confidence in your car and your racing mates. This is the reshape in turn 10. And this is the second spot where the car is really light, where you can easily throw it away, where you need a lot of downforce on the rear. And the last few turns, the penultimate turn is actually a chicane. And this was the first hot lap of Jag Rognan. He's the first one to deliver us a time 1:16.4. That will not stand as the pole. I'm pretty sure about that. Yes, there it is. Dominic Walsh Oh, and Andrew Mond is out. Andrew Mond crashed very early. Where is it? Trying to find it. I cannot find it. There's a Red Bull coming close. There was the car. I suppose, while we see Martin Ward, Mercy Man, running wide in turn 10, I suppose that Andrew Mond lost his car in this vicious turn 9, what I just mentioned, the blind turn where you just run into the right kink without knowing what exactly is happening. And then he probably lost his car. Yeah, and so as long as there's no one getting disqualified, we know already who is sitting in the last starting box. That is Andrew Mond. And he now has approximately 15 minutes of time to have dinner or so and watch his mates qualifying. Yeah, so meanwhile, we have seen times incoming. We see, of course, who else? Peter Simpson in the pole. There he is, Simo, and he did it on mediums. That is interesting. So, Simo, Simo, who is blocking a Mercedes. Ooh, not a good maneuver. It was Ryan Price. Simo was having a look at, what was it, Williams or McLaren or something around him, and almost forgot that there is a Mercedes coming from behind. Let's stay with Ryan Price here for a moment, who is running a second lap on this set of softs. And he is still improving himself up into P6, even though he had this little heart attack moment with Simo. I wanted to speak about Simo. Simo, the undisputable fastest driver in MRS. He was vice champion in season 1. He is more or less the pole king in MRS. But he is not bulletproof in his races. This season very special for him because from the 11 races we've seen thus far, he finished 6 or 7, but all of those races he won. In the other on the other side, if Simo doesn't win, he doesn't finish the race. So he is the leader in our overall standings, and he sits there more or less comfortably ahead. But that I wanted to run down in just a moment. So he is our leader. But he has to work a little bit on consistency. That is the one thing that he still needs to improve. Grimo is out. The other... there's no driver around who could depict it for us. He's standing actually on the same spot, more or less the same spot as Andrew Mond. So both Alpha Tauris out on turn 9. Wow. So meanwhile we see, as I mentioned, Simo in the pole, who has just mounted softs, so he might run again. In second, Nevis Ekic in the Alfa Romeo. Wow, just half a tenth behind Simo, but we know that Simo posted the lap time on mediums. So there is still some time to find for Peter Simpson, I suppose. Third then, Thomas Walsh here in his Racing Point, going out on his second hot lap, wearing fresh softs. Fourth, his brother Dominic Walsh, but sitting in the pits. And fifth, then Jack Rognan, who we were with on his first hot lap. What else is important? Stio, the reserve, did not run a hot lap yet. He's still waiting a bit more. Hashtag track development, maybe. And so, as we have a bit of time, we will stay with Thomas Walsh for his second hot lap, while we see Rognan pushing up and into the pole position. Not bad, not bad. Jack Rocknan ahead of Simpson right now on softs. Yeah, well, we watched Thomas Walsh and his second hot lap. Yeah, as we are now in the second half of the season, we have a picture of the overall standings. And we know now who is battling for which position. So Peter Simpson is our leader. His lead has been cut into a little bit lately after our last week's community event. Thomas Walsh, who we watch here in his Racing Point, is second in the standings, while he is barely not able to improve after Sector 1. Tom Walsh is 20 points behind Simpson, so he is in striking distance. I mentioned it. Simo does either win or DNF, and one or the other. If the second is case today, if Simo does not finish and Tom Walsh wins, we have a new leader at the end of the day. While Thomas Walsh has improved himself a little bit, found 2/10 in the intermediate sector. Tom Walsh was finished third overall in Season 1 and looks like he is the only real competitor for Simpson in Season 2. And now, he improved himself but will stay in fourth only. And meanwhile, Nebis Ekic has pushed ahead. Ekic is in second. Not bad, Ekic, not bad. And now, as Tom Walsh is on his in-lap, his brother in the Alfa Romeo has left his pit crew and he's running mediums now. Interesting. It is interesting. Dominic Walsh thinks there might be some pace to find on mediums. It is very important on a few tracks, and Spain is one of them, where you can have a real advantage running on mediums on the start. The one-stop strategy is just so much faster than two stops. I just saw it on Monday again. And everyone who will start on softs, it will not be possible. A one-stop race starting on softs is just not possible. And that will cost those drivers a lot of time in case there is no safety car phase midway through the race, of course. Yeah, Dominic Walsh. Well, what does Season 2 hold in hands for him? He is our reigning champion from Season 1, but had a mediocre start of this season. He is only fourth now, and that is already good. So he's in the best position he ever had this season. And have a look. Sector 1, and he found 4/10. So he definitely is improving on the mediums. And I would like to suppose that if he would finish on 5, 6, or 7th, he might just accept it and take the one-stop strategy advantage with him. While we have a new pole setter, Stio, the reserve from the Slydog Racing League, is up and into first. And just countered by who else? Peter Simpson blasting everyone else. He's 7/10 faster than Stio. Let's see what Dominic Walsh does here at the end of Sector 3. And wow, Dominic Walsh is third. Wow, congratulations. Applause, applause. 7.5/10 behind Peter Simpson still, but on mediums, that is a real statement. Yeah, I just said that he does not have a good second season. He's still our reigning champion. He does have a good pace, a good race pace. He has never been the top-notch qualifier like Simo. But he has shown us that he isn't finished yet. He is 55 points behind Peter Simpson, so he has to catch up a lot if he wants to have some stakes, at least, in defending his title. And there has been a bit of ups and downs on our standings right now, so 4 minutes left. Before we enter the hectic last few moments, we see Simo in the pole, at least for the moment, followed by Stio, Jagger Rognan, Dominic Walsh, and Nevis Ekic in 5th. Bilton Matt Sneed, by his name, is now in 7th. Yeah, I just had to look it up, but I had his name correct in my mind. Matt Sneed. Thomas Walsh still in the pits. Ryan Price just came back. Who else? Maybe Mike Taylor. Mike Taylor and Blake Gary. It looks like those two boys are the only on fast laps. Taylor at the end of Sector 1. Blake Gary not too far away of each either. Stio already calls it a quali. So Taylor is ahead. Let's stay with him for a moment. Coming to the end of Sector 2, and he found 3/10. That would only attack Scuba ahead, maybe. So not much of improvement for him. And Blake Gary, didn't see the intermediate time. Let's just stay with Mike Taylor until he is finished. He will not be able to run a hot lap again, so this is it for the second Racing Point driver. Oh yeah, and he found some time in the last sector, up into 10th. What does Gary do? Found a bit of time too, but that gives him only P14 for the moment. Only 14th. So Gary is finished. Mike Taylor is so too. The top drivers are on outlaps. Let's maybe have a look what Jarne Vanderbilt is doing. It looks like he has some traffic ahead. I think it was Mike Taylor who was ahead of him. Let's ride on board with the Ferrari here for a few meters. As he is making up his way up the hill in the intermediate sector, lifting. You could hear him lift off the acceleration pedal. End of sector 2, and he is almost level to his formerly posted hot lap. That might not even be enough to attack Matt Sneed ahead. He's now in the last sector, the slow turns, bit of a log tire, but was okay, I think. Aggressively over the curbs here, but good acceleration in the last turn, and Jarne Vanderbilt will start in only P7th maximally. Overtook just Bilton Matt. Peter Simpson on his next hot lap, our pole king. He is level in Sector 1, 12 thousandths of a tenth of improvement. But I mentioned it, there is nothing to win in Sector 1. You can only lose a lap there. We've seen a Red Bull running very wide to get out of the way. Seymour in the intermediate sector, what will it bring for him? He does not really have to improve, but he's still chasing times. Have a look, 3 thousandths of a tenth, so actually level to his formerly posted time. Will he abort the lap or run it till the end? Quali is officially finished. He will finish his lap, but no improvements for him. Likewise to Rognan and Dominic Walsh behind. They are finished. Simo is so too. Improved by 21 thousandths in the end. Here's Nevis Ekic. Let's see what he will do in the end of Sector 1. No improvements for him. Thomas Walsh. Thomas Walsh is chasing a little bit. 1.5 tenths improvement. Matt Snead pushed ahead into 5th, and Tom Walsh is 6th, just behind the Build 10 Matt. Nevis Ikic still running, but he does not look like he's improving. Could he find some time in Sector 2? No, he doesn't. He is more or less finished there in his 7th position. Martin Ward, oh, he's digging himself out of the gravel pit, so I think that should be it. That is it. I would like to say Nevis Ikic, the last one who's running, we are waiting on him to finish. Oh no, he is not running anymore. That is it. That is the qualifying here in Barcelona. Once again, congratulations to the Renault driver number 1, Peter Simpson. The next pole, I have no idea how many MRS poles he already had. Have to be a lot. Got to be a lot. And then second Stio. That is very interesting. Quite a good pace, but those followers from Simo are very close. Have a look. Stio, then Rognan, Dominic Walsh, Matt Snead, those drivers all within half a tenth. Yeah, and we will finish the quali on board with our host. This is the starting grid for our race. Simo in the poles, Dio follows him, and Rognan in 3rd. Dominic Walsh in the end, qualifying on mediums in 4th. Wow, really strong performance. 5th, Matt Snead. 6th, Thomas Walsh. 7, Nevis Ikic. 8, Jarno van der Brijl. 9 is Ryan Price. 10th, Mark Taylor. 11th, and free option of tire begins here for Martin Ward. 12th, Stuart McDonald. 13, Stephen Hodgett. 14, Blake Gary. 15, David Lawson. And no times posted, or actually the time posted for Grimo Goodman, but no time posted for the second AlphaTauri, Andrew Mont. The last starting row is an all AlphaTauri row. Dr. Helmut Marko will not be pleased. So our drivers have half a minute, maybe a bit more of time to get their strategy sorted out. And yeah, meanwhile, as I am just checking in our background chat at this point, congratulations, happy birthday to Sam Clark, Captain Infinity, who is inactive for tonight, the second McLaren. But well, it's his birthday, so have a nice evening and enjoy your day. And I will be back with you in a moment. Lap lap 0 of 33. And let's have a look about the tires that are used. The top 10 have to start on the tires they qualified on. Everyone on softs except on Walsh. And then from P11 and beyond, almost everyone opted for mediums. Only exception is just Scuba, Stephen Orchard. Not sure why he did so. He will hope for a safety car phase. We do not see a hard starter. And yeah, Simo is very familiar starting on the front row. Let's see how good Stio will be on the start. I had the honor to broadcast a bunch of races from him when I was working with Slydog. I still know that he is a good racer, but I cannot recall if he's a good starter. And I suppose no one knows it. And this could be a bit of an unpleasant situation for Simo to start next to a driver he doesn't know very well. And right behind him, just a few meters right behind his gearbox, is Ragnar, who, as I mentioned, is on a mission to close the gap to our classifications leader. Here we go, the 5 red lights, and then the Barcelona Grand Prix. Go, 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 lights out in Spain. And oh, there's a big crash, and that was Simo. That was Simo in the Renault VSC very early. Ooh, I did not see exactly what happened. I just saw that Ragnar and Simo went sideways and went into the wall there. Stio, meanwhile, the leader. Let's have a look. There is Ragnar with intense front wing damage. Where is Simo? In 13th. A lot of, totally damaged front wing too. Sadly, I didn't see it. Couldn't depict it if it was Ragnar and Simo from behind, or if it was somebody else tagging Simo and then running into Ragnar. While we see the tire strategy presented by the Amazon Web Services, and VSC is over, back to green. Simo, Ragnar will both definitely turn into the pits. Let's see if there will be another driver who needs an early pit stop. I would like to suppose that those drivers will stop for hards and run long then. Yep, Simo in. Andrew Mann does not. I saw someone who crashed into the rear of Simo. Mercy man, Martin Ward. There he is. That was a third man in. Yes, new nose needed for him. Oh, he got a penalty for it too. Martin Ward. Stops for softs, Ragnar and hards. Simo mediums. Okay, so everyone will have to stop again. You cannot run through the race on a set of hards. So Ragnar and Simpson both have to stop again. But Simpson will be faster on the mediums than Ragnar on the hards, of course. Oh yeah, intense starting phase. Meanwhile, Williams of Stio is leading the way ahead of Thomas Walsh. So as soon as we are in the next lap, then we have a look at the position change. Then when we are in the real lap 3, the table is correct. Stio running away, next fastest lap for him. So Stio +1, bunch of +4s. Walsh, Ekic, Van de Bril. Dominic Walsh lost the position, although 2 of the drivers ahead had to pit. A lot of greens in the midfields, +4, +5 and something. Ooh, and Martin Ward, he left. Martin Ward left. That means he might have some internet connection issues. He might be able to return. Oh, Matt Snead in the pits. We're already too late. I suppose that he needed a new nose. Such a early pit stop. Yeah, the big losers are right here at the back of the field. Matt Snead, Seymour, Rockner, and Martin Ward. So let's have a look how the things will now unfold. Stio still running away in the front, over 2 seconds already away from Thomas Walsh, who's trying to do the same but can't. Nevis Ekic inside the DRS window. There you see Orleans turn towards the sky. He's getting closer. Missed the braking point. If you are fast on the straight, you have to brake a little bit earlier. And behind the other Alfa Romeo, Dominic Walsh chasing Jarne van der Brill. Dom Walsh, I suppose, just needs to stay inside the DRS window. He knows that he doesn't have to attack too much. He has the big strategy advantage in his hands. So as long as he can stay close to the front, can match their pace, everything's fine for him long term. We see then Mike Taylor in 6th. Who was? Yeah, there was the turn I spoke about in quali, where the car is very light, we can easily lose it. And he almost lost it. In 7th, then our lonely Scotsman Stuart MacDonald on mediums. He's the second medium runner, so he's the second behind Dominic Walsh, who has this big strategy advantage. And what's happening here? Both DRS equipped. This is Grimo Goodman versus Blake Gary. Gary, no attack for the moment. He's running on mediums, so same again. Tire strategy advantage for Gary and Grimo against Scuba. Grimo is struggling a bit, it looks, and Blake Gary, who luckily got his internet connection issues sorted out that he had a few weeks ago. He looks very stable with us again. Yellow sector 2, but that's behind us. And another yellow. Black Gary's out. Gary has thrown his Williams away in these turns where I mentioned already a few times that are so tricky. And he did it right when we sat on his shoulder. We have the second VSC. Mike Taylor got the drive-through penalty for speeding under VSC. Let's see if there's another one who commits this mistake. The Williams of Gary is already vanished. Pit stops incoming. Mike Taylor, this is maybe his penalty. No, it's not. Getting rid of his softs. Taylor and Stio taking advantage of the VSC phase. They were one of the drivers who had to hope for it. And Ryan Price is out. Ryan Price. Oh no, he retired in the pit lane. Oh, that's sad. Ryan Price. I'm not sure what happened to him. Maybe he will tell us in the background chat. But for some reason, he thought he has to step out of his car. Fair maneuver to park it in the garage and not cause a safety car phase somewhere on the track. And Simo is already up to 12th. He got ahead of Matt Snead in the Haas behind. Another yellow in sector 3. This is the other Mercedes. There we see Scuba digging his black car out of the gravel there. And he turns immediately into the pits. There was no front wing damage, but he was one of the drivers who started on the softs. He was outside the top 10. I did not know what made him start on softs. I think he will regret it right now. Good and quick pit stop. Still, he will be ranked back a lot of positions, but he should still be ahead of Simo, I suppose. No, he will not. There is Simo coming on the right-hand side. Oh, this will be close. This will be close. Price, Bilton, Matt, and Simo all together. Simo ahead and Scuba right in the sandwich between them. So Scuba is the meat in the Haas Renault sandwich. And it looks like Simo is able to run away a little bit, so Scuba could just be the thing he hoped to get some distance to Bilton Matt. Meanwhile, we see Steve posting the next hot lap on the next fastest lap on his mediums. Only Tom Walsh and Ekic, the front runners who didn't stop yet. Let's jump to them. Ekic is close, followed by his Alfa Romeo teammate. And as soon as the soft runners will have to stop, they need to stop sometime soon. As soon as they do, our reigning champion is leading the race. Not sure how often this has already happened this year, but not that often. Let's see if some drivers ahead, both will pit. Thomas Walsh and Ekic simultaneously into the pit lane. And that makes Tom Walsh the leader. There he is. Ahead of then Stio. Stio is only 5.5 seconds away, although he already had a pit stop. But it doesn't matter, both need to stop once again. Stio probably will pit then another time on mediums. Dominic Walsh has to stop for hards, so the tire advantage will then be a little bit in hands of Stio. So the top 5 are now drivers who started on mediums. That's what I meant. That's what I spoke about already a few times. The advantage if you do not qualify into the top 10. Oh no, Matt Snead is out. Matt Snead is out. He retired in the pit lane. Just a classic retirement of Matt Snead, running directly into his garage. And we are right with Martin Ward, who lost his car on the curb there in turn 2. That's a vicious curb. Happens very often. If you touch that inside curb, you are almost doomed, and that is right what happened to him. He's already lapped from Dominic Walsh. Martin Ward now will stop for a fresh nose. I suppose he'll stop then for hards. He could run through the race, maybe, I suppose. Yeah, meanwhile, greetings to Mikko Caruso, who's watching us from his holiday. Hello, buonasera to Italy. I hope you enjoy the stream. Like everyone else, of course, who's watching. So, and meanwhile, let's have a look where some action is going on. We see a battle group here. This is Jarne van der Bril overtaking Andrew Mant and throwing him into the mercy of Thomas Walsh, and Ekic is close there too. A lot of stuff going on. Let's have a look at the view of Ekic, left and right behind Thomas Walsh. We had a bit of a calm race thus far, speaking about battles, but here we go. Everyone will be DRS equipped, so no advantage or disadvantage for any one of those drivers. Maybe a little bit of more slipstream for Walsh and Ekic there. Van der Bril ahead, supplying the DRS to everyone. Ekic had to lift a little bit in order not to run into the racing point of Walsh. And if those drivers fight a little bit more, there is the fifth man in, that's David Larson. Situation has calmed down a bit. Van der Bril ahead, just runs away. This DRS zone is too short to really attack. Yeah, greetings to you boys from Slydog. Welcome. And just when I was greeting Mr. Bloomchum, Ekic almost lost his car on acceleration, so that will cost him the next attack. While we watch Thomas Walsh very close to the zebra, as it looks like from behind. Attack, maybe, no, maybe not. Monster is leaving the door open. Thomas Walsh did not have the DRS advantage, as Monster is still in the 1 second window of Van der Bril ahead. But I suppose Monster will drop out very soon of the 1 second window, and then he will be chewed up from Tom Walsh. Walsh, who maybe already tries to run through on this set of hards. I doubt that will work. I am very sure he is praying for a late safety car or VSC phase. Andrew Mann, now he should have been dropped out. Should not be DRS equipped on the long main straight, and then he'll be chewed up by the racing point. You can see Andrew Mann struggling on his used medium tires. He does not stop yet. Has to make a few more laps on this set, and now the attack from Walsh. There it is. Wheel to wheel, and the racing point is ahead. Worked very smoothly. And now Andrew Mond, who had this early quali crash, started in last position, is in 7th now, so actually not a bad race for Monster. But he's now under attack by the next Alfa Romeo. This is Ekic. Dominic Walsh still leading the race, but his gap to Stio got cut in half, just 2.6 seconds the gap anymore. Yellow in sector 2, that's behind us. There was Scuba who spun. Ooh, and Ekic had a bit of a touch. Tagged Andrew Mann there from behind. Now wheel to wheel, this is dangerous. This is dangerous in this position. But both drivers fair racing, leaving gap, leaving some breathing space. Andrew Mann looks like he's struggling hard on these mediums. Ooh, hot scene there. Ekic is just lucky that Lawson is still too far away from behind. Andrew Mann will be attacked here again. Late braking from Ekic. Cut back inside from Andrew Mann. There he is. This turn is in favor of the Monster. And next turn in favor of Monster again. Ooh. Pushing Ekic out a little bit, but it was okay. I think it was not intentional. Just the momentum dragging your car towards the left side there. Hard defending, but good racing from both drivers. And Thomas Walsh already 2.5 seconds away ahead. So Ekic now on the inside into turn 10. This should work. This will work. Will it work? Yes, it did. Now finally, Nevis Ikic muscled through. Stuart McDonald, the first of the medium starters into the pits for his probably one and only tire change. Lawson now too, while some of the medium starters are still driving. Oh, Dominic Walsh did so too. Dom Walsh too. Dom Walsh did his one and only pit stop for Hearts and is still in third. Dominic Walsh still in third. The drivers ahead, that's Grimo Goodman and Stio, still need a pit stop, so Dominic Walsh is in a good position to tackle the race victory. And in 8th already, Seymour. He had the bad luck moment on the start. Second bad luck thing was that there has just not been a safety car phase yet. We have 3 drivers who are out at the moment, but none of those 3 cause a safety car. That could have been a possibility for him to catch up to the rest of the field, but no, he was denied on this possibility. So this might be the first race for Peter Simpson that he will finish but not win. That's always a first time, but could be first time for him today. Andrew Mond now into the pits after he struggled so hard, so long on his old mediums. Still Grimo Goodman. Yes, Mark Goodman, the only one who's still running on his starting tire. There he is in the second Alpha Tauri. Yellow in sector 3, there was, I think it was Scuba, slow, yes, Scuba again. He's sadly not having a good race, maybe he's just out of sync. Probably didn't do a lot of Formula 1 racing lately, and so he's a bit out of practice, as would like to suppose. So the race has taken a bit of a breather. Martin Ward has rejoined, so it seems like he is having some internet connection troubles. And Mark Goodman is still racing on his starting tire. Interesting that he's running so long on his sets. Did not expect that mediums could hold half a race here in Barcelona. And now Stephen Hodges has retired, has parked the second Mercedes in the garage. No finish for a Mercedes here tonight. Unlike the real life, as Mercedes has really dominated Barcelona in the last couple of years. And here's now finally the pit stop of Mark Goodman, while we see the sky being cloudy, so now it looks like it's overcast. And thanks for the hint. This could maybe lead to a bit of a shower late in the race. Maybe. We will find out. Mark Goodman now in 8th, but this could improve for him towards the end. There was the Mercedes of Scuba. The AI stupidly drove him out of the pits again, although he retired inside the pits. So yeah, Grimo Goodman is in 8th, but ahead are still a few drivers who are in need of a pit stop, like Stio. I'm just not sure if he will drop so far behind. Then there is Jarne van de Bril, Nevis Ikic, Simo. So all those might be ranked behind him. So bunch of points available for Goodman here tonight. While his teammate Andrew Mont has stopped for softs on his last stop. Not sure if that was intentional or if that was a mistake. So Monster will have to stop again. Here's Nevis Ikic chasing Thomas Walsh again. Ikic was held up by Andrew Mont just a few laps ago. Thomas Walsh was running away ahead. Now Ikic has closed up to Tom Walsh. One of the facts is that Walsh is running on hards, so he cannot match the pace of Ikic. I think both have to stop again. There is a disadvantage for Walsh on the hards, except if it might start to drizzle, if it might start to rain. The clouds are getting darker. We are now at the 2/3 mark of the race, approximately. While we are riding on the shoulder of Nevis Ikic, he's the only one who is inside the DS window at the moment. Oh, that was a mistake by Ikic. Late break from him, but his nose is still intact. Lucky moment for him. And behind Simo in P6, he is nursing his mediums now to already 17 laps. And Stio into the pits for his second and final pit stop, at least final in case it will not rain. Let's see where he will be back on the track then. Here's Dominic Walsh, who will lap our host. Can Dominic Walsh acquire the lead of Stio? You can see on the minimap that will be close. There ahead is Stio. That will be wheel to wheel into turn 1. And Stio closes the door. Stio in the lead. And now has the faster tire. Fresh mediums. So Stio was fast enough, it looks like, to stay ahead. He is now the number 1 contender for the race victory, and there is a safety car. Mercy Man is out. Mercy Man is out on the position where already a few drivers ended the evening at the end of turn 9. Who is it? I think it's right this group who could maybe depict it. There is the car ahead. Oh yeah, wrecked car into the wall. And there is the safety car phase a lot of drivers have prayed for, but it was just 1 lap too late for Peter Simpson. You can see Simpson running on fresh mediums already. He was hoping to have it 1 lap earlier. He will be angry now. Couldn't that have been one lap earlier? But on the other hand, Seymour will be close to all the other drivers. Dominic Walsh into the pits. Yeah, Vanderbilt does so too. Vanderbilt still needed a stop. Walsh, Thomas Walsh in, Ekic in. Those needed a stop. Dominic Walsh would not have needed it. But it was not a bad idea from him to come in and mount fresh mediums. So he'll have a better tire on the restart. He is still in second. The field will be packed after the safety car has found everyone. So good idea from him. Almost everyone is stopping now. Almost everyone now on a fresh set of tire. It is only Leonard Cam. Only Leonard Cam, Stuart McDonald, the only one who will not restart the race on a fresh set of tire. Interesting. Ooh, and Lawson is aggressive. David Lawson in last position will restart the race on softs. Now the sky looks cloudy, but I suppose that our drivers would not have changed to fresh slick tire if the game held some rain in hands. And now our host David Lawson has retired. Drove into his garage. That's very sad. So that means both the Red Bulls out. And the big biggest disadvantage of the situation is actually Stevio, who had a comfortable lead. The lead was cut down, of course, after his second pit stop, but he stayed ahead of Dominic Walsh, and with the fresher medium tire, I suppose he would have had the chance to run away from Dom Walsh and just run straight away and bring home the victory. But that will not happen now. That will not happen now. Everything's possible now, as the field is so packed together. Yeah, we have seen it. Lights are out. The police car of Bernd Mailander does not flash the lights anymore, so that means Stevio is pacing the field now. And to some unpredictable moment, he will pick up the pace and run away, or try to run away from Dominic Walsh and the rest of the pack. He's still slow. When does he accelerate? Now he does! Now he does! We are back to green. Stevio leading the restart. Dominic Walsh is close. Leonard Cam is not so close. The only who was running on used hearts, that was a mistake to not pit in. So he will be chewed up. Oh, he's X'd. He is AI driven. Oh no, that is sad. That could have been a bunch of points for McDonald in the end, but that will be difficult now. Vanderbilt chasing him, and everyone is very close. Oh, there was Tom Walsh. A bit in the dirt there on his left-hand side. Leonard Cam is holding up the drivers. Van de Bryl already aggressively pushing and trying. The top three will be happy. Then Leonard Cam, or the AI-driven Leonard Cam, will hold them up. Left and right, attacks from everywhere. Van de Bryl, the first one to push ahead. Have a look. They are just over him on all sides. Ooh, Thomas Walsh lost the position to Nevis Ekic. Let's have a look what's going on. And now Tom Walsh lost the position to Seymour. No, he didn't. Ooh, hard fighting back against Peter Simpson. The two front runners in our overall standings. And now here's the attack from Ekic against the AI-driven Leonard Cam. And the AI loses another position to Tom Walsh. And today I think it's rather safe to say that this is the first day where Simo will not win a race when he finishes it. And the only one, or the one who's nearest to him, is Tom Walsh, nearest in our overall standings. But how things stand now, Thomas Walsh would make up only 2 points. So Tom Walsh cannot really take advantage of the situation of Simo not making 25 points. So let's have a look what's going on our top 3 positions. There he is. The Williams CEO is leading from Tom Walsh, from Jarne Van de Bryl. This is the podium by the looks of things here. 7.5 laps before the end of the race. But Ekic looks like he's closing up to Van de Bryl. Nevis Ekic looks like he's faster. Nevis Ekic, who came into the league as one of our reserves, quickly got promoted, both locking up the front left tire here. Ekic getting promoted from reserve to full-time driver very fast. Van de Bryl, one of our rookies, last year's rookies. We had 2 rookies of the year in the last year. He was one of them. The other one was Caruso, by the way. And Ekic looks like he is faster than the rookie of the year from last year. But behind Tom Walsh, 5th, 6th, Simo. Grimo then 4.6, 4.7, 4.8, 4.9 seconds away from Simo. So Grimo in the AlphaTauri has a bunch of points possible for him. That's 2 points less now as Rocknan has pushed ahead. And Simo is up into 6 and has a bunch of drivers ahead of him. That is Tom Walsh, Nevis Ekic and Jarne Van de Bryl. Peter Simpson is still in the discussion for a podium after being almost last after turn 1. He still has a chance for a podium. This will be the battle for the last 6.5 laps. There are no penalties handed out, that is a good thing. So everything will be decided on the track. All of these drivers are on almost matchingly old medium tires. So it has to be settled with racecraft between these boys. Jarne Van de Bryl is serving the DRS for everyone here, except himself. But everyone should have some loaded batteries, some gasoline from the safety car phase, so the drivers can push their engines to the maximum. No attacks yet. It looks like Ikic is the closest. Yes, it does look so. He might be the first one to try a maneuver now in the second DRS zone. He looks like he's farther away. They are very close here in the braking zone, of course. And right now, it seems like Vanderbilt has pulled ahead a little bit, just enough that Ikic cannot attack him here on the long main straight. Let's see what's happening now. 5 laps remaining. Everyone showing himself in the rearview mirror of the driver ahead. But no chance for an attack of anyone. Vanderbilt is doing a great job to stay ahead without DRS. Of course, no one is allowed to commit the slightest mistake. Maybe Ikic did a little bit one. Locked up tires here now. Walsh looks very close to Ikic, and Seymour is just as close. Next DRS zone, but the Vanderbilt giving DRS saves Ikic for a moment. Oh, no, oh no, Ikic crashed. Nevis Ikic, there's his front wing. Nevis Ikic lost it here on the turn and takes Grimo with him. And takes Mark Goodman with him. Oh, Grimo couldn't react quickly enough when Ikic returned to the track. Oh, that is sad. I think Ikic tried to give him some space, but Grimo was already too fast and couldn't avoid it anymore. And so this foursome group is down to 3. Vanderbilt leading the way. Thomas Walsh out of the DRS window while Simo is in. So the podium looks like a bit far away now from Simo, but he has some good chances to overtake his one and only, at least at the moment, one and only rival for the championship. That's Thomas Walsh right ahead. Simo doesn't always have to win, he just needs to finish ahead of his main rivals. Yellow in sector 2, and right when I say it, almost the race end for Peter Simpson. So he just was barely able to catch his Renault. So he's still racing, but he has maybe thrown away the chance for an attack on Tom Walsh. He wanted to be on the acceleration as fast as possible. And I know that Simo is racing without traction control, so that gives him a lot of extra pace on acceleration. But you can, you just were able to see how risky that can be. And meanwhile, have a look. Tom Walsh is barely inside the DS window again, and Simo now is so too. So maybe we will see another DS battle group here in the last 2 laps. Sadly, we couldn't depict CEO, the leader, a lot, but I hope it's okay to stay with the battle group here. We battle for the podium. Vanderbilt is still holding it in his hands, but it looks like Vanderbilt is definitely slower than the drivers around him. Thomas Walsh is, yes, he is inside the DS window. Simo is not. So 2 laps remaining, 2 more, now it's only 1 more time over the long main straight for Mike Taylor to answer the question, who will be the third and final podium setter? Stio our winner, that's more or less safe to say, as long as he doesn't throw it away. Followed by our still reigning champion Dominic Walsh. And then who is third? Who is the third man being handed a trophy and a bottle of champagne in around 3 or 4 minutes? Is it Van de Bril or is it Walsh? Simo getting closer from behind. He's inside the DRS zone. But as long as those two boys don't run each other off the field, off the track, I think Simo has no chances anymore for a podium. In 6th then Rognan coming back from the start collision with Simo. Good race for him at the end. And Walsh was a little bit in the gravel there, so that should be it. He is too far away. There will not be a chance for him. There is no chance for Walsh to attack anymore. Then we see Simo in 5th, 6 Rognan, 7 is Andrew Mont. Let's have a look. I'm just curious. I saw it right. Nevis Ikic. Is Nevis Ikic lapped? Nevis Ikic, who needed the pit stop as he ruined his nose. Have a look, Ikic. He was part of this battle just 3 laps ago, and now he's lapped behind them and has to watch how they decide the third man on the podium. All of that doesn't matter to this man. The reserve stepping into the Williams of Kantan, and he reserved him in style. Last lap, a last turn, and this is it. Congratulations, race winner Stio from Slydog Racing League. In 2nd, our reigning vice champion Dominic Walsh. Congratulations, and in the end, it is Jarne van de Bril bringing it home. The third man on the podium. Thomas Walsh will be 4th. Simo 5th. Rognan 6th. Good result for both of them. Recovering from their starting collision. And Andrew Mont acquires good 6 points after starting in last position. The AI-driven Leonard Cam even in the points too. Now we're waiting only for Mark Goodman to see the checkered flag in P10. Last point will be given to him. And this is the official end of our Spanish Grand Prix. Driver of the day, at least what the game says, is Andrew Mont, as I said, coming from the back of the grid. This is Stio. Congratulations again to him. And our digital champagne portion for those 3 boys, very well deserved. And this is the final result after penalties. Luckily, we didn't have a penalty. Stio has won ahead of Dominic Walsh and Jarne van de Bril in 3rd. 4th, then Thomas Walsh making up just 2 points on Simo first race. Then Simo finished and did not win. 6th, then Jack Rognan. 7th, Andrew Mont. 8th, Stuart McDonald. 9th, Mike Taylor. 10 is Grimo Goodman. Nevis Ikic, very unlucky end of his race in P11. And not finished, we have David Lawson, Martin Ward, Stephen Hodgetts, Matt Snead, Ryan Price, and Blake Gary. So this is it. The turn 10 that will cause maybe some trouble then in a new game. This was second and last time that the Mainstream Racing Series was at guest here in Montmello. We will return onto the racetrack then next week, Wednesday evening, 7:30 p.m. UK, 8:30 p.m. Continental. The stream goes online every time around approximately 5 to 10 minutes earlier. I would be delighted if you would be with us again then. I'm Sepp Bauer, glad you were with us. And if you want to be notified by YouTube, just hit the subscribe button. Next week then, that will be interesting. Next week we will head nowhere else but Monte Carlo, the Monaco Grand Prix, just 3 days before the Monaco real life race. That was very eventful race last year. We will see if it will be just the same chaos or carnage then in this year again. Until then, have a nice evening. Have a nice Father's Day, at least on the continental side of Europe. We celebrate that tomorrow. Stay safe in these times and keep racing.